Listen, alcohol is just out in 2024. There is a rising trend of going alcohol-free or being sober curious, and alcohol, the truth is, it's just bad for you and can famously impair your sex life. So if you're looking for another way to unwind, relax, or just have fun, I cannot recommend Via's THC gummies enough. Via has gummies for every occasion. Whether it's to improve your sleep, I love their sleep gummies. I take them everywhere. Your mood or your focus. They even have an aphrodisiac gummy called High Love to boost my arousal levels. High Love has a unique blend of cannabinoids and aphrodisiac exotic herbs that are known for their libido enhancing effects. So I've been using Via for a while now, and I absolutely love them. They're a super trusted company. They use premium hemp, natural ingredients, and they're known for their premium indoor THCA flower. All their products are made here in the US. They got quick and discreet shipping to all 50 states, so you can all enjoy them, not to worry. And also super affordable. So head over to viahemp.com and use code Emily at checkout to save 15% off your order. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Use code Emily at checkout for 15% off your order and let me know what you think. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the show. Today I'm joined by a super couple of sex education fellow sexologists Sunny Megatron and Ken Melvoin-Berg. Together we'll be discussing a few of your favorite topics, including kinky sex, blowjobs, sex toys, and more. So thanks for listening, but first, okay, we need to talk. Have I told you enough about Emily and Tony Down Under Comfort? Because, you know, summer's coming. And how are your balls feeling? I just want to know, because if they're not fresh and dry like they should be, then you should check out Down Under Comfort. So a lot of men, and women, you know, we sweat in places we just don't want to. It's getting hot underneath their breasts, you know, lower back, men in their ball area, and in their ball area, the area where your balls are. And talcum powder is actually carcinogenic and messy, and Down Under Comfort is vegan. It's a cream formula that turns into a light natural powder, and it keeps your intimate areas dry, comfortable, fresh and clean, and ready for action anytime. Men's Health actually voted the #1 product you didn't know you needed. So don't you think you kind of need it? And here's what people are saying. Down Under Comfort is a godsend. After being a baby powder man for most of my adult life, I can't imagine a day without this. Girlfriend is a big fan as well. Any guy who says that his girlfriend won't go down needs to try this stuff. She loves it. Balls are no longer lonely. Do you want lonely balls? I don't think you do. Go to emilyandtony.com, get Down Under Comfort right now. Use coupon code Emily for 20% off your first order. Plus, until May 31st, get a free Down Under Comfort with any Menage a Trois candle purchase with code PLEASURE. Thanks everyone for listening.
Look into his eyes. They're the eyes of a man obsessed by sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day.
Hey, Emily, you got a boyfriend? Because my man E here, he just got his heart broken. He thinks you're kind of cute.
A girl's got to have her standards. Oh, my.
Do women know about shrinkage?
Isn't it common knowledge?
What do you mean, like laundry? It shrinks?
Can we not talk about sex so much?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, I feel so good.
Being bad feels pretty good. You know, Emily's not the kind of girl you just play with.
You're listening to Sex with Emily. We're talking about sex, relationships, and everything in between. For more information, go to sexwithemily.com where you can check out our podcast. Sign up for our mailing list, which I don't understand. If you're listening to the show and you love the show, which you all tell me you do, and you're not on our mailing list, it makes zero sense to me, because it's not like I spam you. I actually send you interesting information. And you can, sometimes people, you can link to the blogs, watch our videos. And the thing is, I just, I don't give your name away, and it's interesting, and you'll like it. People actually have complimented me more in my emails than they have in the show, which is kind of a weird thing, and I wonder if I should just do, professional email campaigns or something. No, I'm not going to get off the, people like the show, too. I know you all love the show, and I love hearing from you, so thanks, everyone, for emailing me, always. Feedback at sexwithemily.com. And follow me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. I just love you all. I would be nothing without you. I'm excited for today's show. Hello, Sunny and Ken. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having us on.
It's awesome. We just met. So Sunny and Ken are a dynamic duo sexologists. They have a show on Showtime, Sex with Sunny Megatron.
Yes.
Which is awesome. And Ken, you have been a sex educator. I remember you telling me 17 years you've been doing it?
A little longer than that, actually. But yeah, I've been doing it forever and a day.
Forever and a day, longer than that.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. You guys are okay, so I need to know real quickly. So we're going to get into some, like, I want to hear about your show and what you guys are doing. We just met at the Sexual Health Expo in Phoenix. I don't think we'd met before.
No, I don't think we had.
Yeah.
I know.
We're like three ships passing in the night, but not.
No, exactly. Like, how have we not, like, hung out? So I feel like I did actually came into your seminar that you were teaching there, which was, all I know is I walked in and there was it you had the unicorn mask?
Yes, there were
yes.
unicorn masks.
And then you were flogging her or something. I don't know. I just kind of came in for a second. So what exactly were you guys teaching at that moment? What was it called?
It was a BDSM 101 class that was sort of like a starter class of 50 Shades of Grey.
The real 50 Shades of Grey.
Right.
Yes.
So here's how it really goes down. You don't need a red room of pain or anything like that.
Right.
So that was cool. So I was like, I like these people. I want to party with them. So you were, that was all. You guys were great at teaching.
We have an extra unicorn mask.
We brought it with today too, and hooves too.
Did you bring it all? Because
so if we can do a selfie with you afterwards.
Those props are amazing, and so you guys you teach everywhere. I have a little bit more about you here, but first, you know what? Before we get into all of your details, first I want to get your comments on this Sex in the News story.
Absolutely.
And it has to do with 50 Shades of Grey. Imagine that. I know you think it's like dead and gone, but here it is. Okay, watching 50 Shades of Grey with your girl makes them frisky. Shock, right? So there's a survey from Tubi TV. The movie 50 Shades of Grey might be a compromise to all that porn you watch. The survey found that most chicks who watched the movie got super aroused during it. So maybe, just maybe, you want to put it in your Netflix. Like, with me, this is like not really any news. But it says that married couples, though, tend to feel safer. So the survey says, wait, back up. In the survey, 68% of the women were somewhat or very aroused when watching 50 Shades of Grey, almost matching 68% of the men. And then married individuals pulled the highest of being somewhat or very aroused at 71%. And they said that married couples tend to feel safer in their relationship, therefore more free to explore their sexuality, and that BDSM turns them on and all this stuff. So I just want to know, okay, so, it's not porn, whatever, they're recommending it here. So what do you guys think about this whole 50 Shades of Grey? Like, how accurate do you think, like, the movie was?
I think that if he was poor, that it would be a sex crime and he'd be on Law and Order.
Exactly.
Yeah. It was great inspiration for, hey, I'm watching this, I'm getting hot for whatever the reason, like the statistics in your article.
Right.
Is it an accurate depiction of BDSM, like a how-to manual? Absolutely not. Right. But either is we watch porn. That's not real. It's great inspiration. It gets us hot and it inspires us to go into the bedroom and do real things.
Exactly.
So in that sense, great. If you love 50 Shades of Grey, wonderful.
Right.
Know that it's a fantasy.
But Sunny has a really great saying when we teach a lot of our classes, and that is, you don't learn how to have sex by watching porn no more than you learn how to drive by watching Fast and the Furious.
Exactly. Right.
And it's the same thing with BDSM and 50 Shades, but it's a great starter for getting into 50 Shades. So you might want to learn a little bit more by going to a local munch. You might go to, some event that is at one of your sites. Yeah, a munch is an event that is at
delicious.
It is. It is a bunch of kinky people that get together in a very kind of vanilla setting where they get together at a restaurant and just talk about the different weird, interesting kink events that are happening in their local neighborhood.
It's a networking event.
Okay,
yeah.
So I have listeners like all over the world, and definitely in the States. They're like, well, I live in small town, USA or whatever. Where do I find the kinky people? I mean, what do you tell people? Where do you tell people to go?
Usually I say, check out FetLife.com.
FetLife.
Yeah, it's the largest kink website, and if you look at groups that pertain to your area, you're gonna find those networking events and those parties and that sort of thing. It's everywhere.
Yeah, there's kinky people everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, it's just not isolated to like the bigger cities.
No, not at all. Like, you have to be somewhat near a medium-sized city, but it's like there's a medium-sized city probably within a couple of hours wherever you're at, and that's usually what we're seeing. They also, in some instances, do like Skype parties, so that if you are isolated, like let's say you're in the middle of Alaska, nowhere near, if you're up in the Aleutian Islands, nowhere near Juneau or Anchorage, you can get on board with Skype or any kind of camming sort of equipment.
Yeah, we did an episode, one of the segments on the show. It was basically an online orgy where everyone got on your video conferencing software and they all had a great time.
But they were all by themselves, so it was sort of voyeuristic in that they would be with their partners on whatever the cam service was, looking at other people, but nobody is really interacting for real. They're just watching.
So nobody's with their partner, even their partners, honestly?
No.
some partners.
There were some people that were with their partners. There was a couple of solo people, but it was like across the board.
So no matter where you are, you can just like sign on to Skype and have an orgy.
Technology is
That's such
amazing.
Technology is amazing. Okay, so let's just get into what you guys have a lot going on. So Sunny Megatron, Ken Melvoin-Berg, and so you can find you at sunnymegatron.com.
Yep.
And you have your Showtime show, which is first season's done, wild hit success, probably coming back for more.
Fingers crossed.
Knock on wood.
And also at Sunny Megatron on Twitter and
Psychic,
Chicken.
it's actually, it's Psychic Ken, but it looks like Psy Chicken, PSY
It does.
Chicken.
I'm like, why chicken?
That was
Right.
well. Originally, I was a professional tarot reader and astrologer. Is how I started my career off, and then I switched over to sex education. My background is actually in medical stuff from when I was in the service.
Oh, okay.
And I have a couple different degrees in medical related areas. But I thought it was kind of cool to learn how to read palms to pick up women.
Right, but did you really believe? Like, do you really like still do the psychic stuff, or was that kind of like a?
You know what? I don't do it anymore. But I loved doing it because it was a great way to meet people. And who doesn't like being told their future? If you're at a bar, it's in a relaxing situation, and you had somebody sitting in a booth that would be telling you a little bit about your fortune. Do I believe in it? Sometimes. It just depends.
Right. Bar. Okay, so Ken's from Michigan. I love that because you still have your accent.
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
live in Chicago, right?
We get
you guys have it.
Yeah, you've lost yours.
I lost. Well, I've been in California for 20 years, but it's funny because when I first moved here, everyone was like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like, but I love it. Bar. It's like I'm just with my people. Okay, so tell me about this show. So you guys got into the show. No, back up. So you were in psychic. You were a psychic.
Correct.
And then you got into sex education. And Sunny, you were.
I was a
Corporate
working
America.
mom. Yeah, I worked for a major ad agency for like nearly 2 decades. And sex ed was my second career. I'd always wanted to get into it, but I was kind of your stereotypical, like, I get a lot of people that come to both of us that, I've been married for 12 years, I've hit the sexual slump, I'm rediscovering myself, and that was me at that point in my mid-30s. And I ended up, getting out there, got on FetLife, met Ken on FetLife.
You did? Okay,
Yes.
so you guys met on FetLife.
We did. We
That
did
was
meet
my
on FetLife.
question. I wanted to ask how you guys met. So were you both? You had already been Ken in this world.
For many years. Yeah.
He it was born kinky. I had it suppressed.
I started kink in the 80s.
God, you were the pioneer. No, it's been around. That's cool. So you were in the 80s. So you met, and were you just like timidly going on FetLife because you hadn't really?
Yeah. I actually.
You didn't seem timid to me.
Well, I was just exploring around. I actually met a couple of people on Craigslist, which was, I'm still here. Then they're like, hey, there's a site, FetLife. And so I was just slowly dipping my toes into the water, like all of the things that I imagined and that, my fantasies I touched myself to that I didn't really think people did in real life. I was like, oh, there's a whole community. I had no idea.
So you weren't even. I mean, you didn't think they did it in real life. So were you just like, what were you watching? Porn? How were you like?
The first exposure to kink I had was the Anne Rice beauty series I read when I was 22 or something.
Okay.
And it was so dirty, but it was so hot. And I thought, seriously, that me and Anne Rice were the only two people that had like a weird, perverted, dirty imagination.
You're like, nobody else thinks this way.
Right, yeah. And I had no idea. No, I was completely naive.
And then you were married? You
yes.
said for 12.
Yeah, well, it was a long-term relationship.
Okay, long-term
almost
relationship.
Married. Yeah.
Right, okay. And that was just like you were in the slump and you were just, nothing. So you had these fantasies still, but you don't know how to, you weren't, like, it wasn't with your partner.
So I became single. The economy went into a slump. I got laid off from my job. So it was kind of the perfect opportunity to reinvent myself. And boom, met Ken. Here we are.
Okay, so what happened? Tell me. So you go on FetLife looking for, like, what was it about Ken's, like, profile? Like,
well,
what happened?
he approached me first, and he commented. I got courage enough to put a picture of my boobs on the internet, not my face, not my face and my boobs at the same time.
Together, right?
Yeah.
Right. I would never recommend
So,
that.
and he was like, "Hey, nice boobs," and that was our first connection. And he seemed really,
which is a great thing. And that he says, there's your left boob is bigger than your right boob. Like that wouldn't have been great, but nice boobs is good.
Yeah, well, nice boobs because I have
fine.
saggy grandma boobs. So I was like, he likes my saggy grandma boobs.
I love them.
That's awesome.
I like natural boobs.
And I checked out his profile, and he seemed smart and intelligent and good looking and witty, except for he was into clown sex. And I was like, what? He seems so normal. Like, what is this dressing as a clown and having sex? And then as I got to know him, I guess we kind of melded in that way, because to me, having silly sex, like you saw us with the unicorn mask, when you see 50 Shades of Grey, it's very serious. I am the Dom, get down on your knees, I'm going to punish you. And I can't. I laugh. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? I can't.
One of our first scenes together was she used to do miming, and she dressed up like a mime. I was a clown, and I was like chasing around and torturing her at an S&M party.
And I couldn't
That
talk.
was your first date?
Tell her what her safe word was.
My safe word was just like me doing jazz hands.
Jazz hands.
I was a mime, and
or she was
couldn't
trapped
talk.
in a
Yeah.
box. No, that was our fourth or
This
fifth
is a good
date.
time. Wait, okay, got it. So clown sex. So this is your first thing. I'm into clown sex. Were you like, what is that? Like you dress like a clown? Like you juggle? Wait, did you
A little of both.
I did it.
And balloon bondage. That's
Yeah.
one of the other things is I was really into balloon bondage. So I started off teaching rope bondage for many, many years. And so I took the kind of balloons, the real big, skinny, long ones that you do balloon animals with. And I would learn how to make handcuffs. I would do a complete like mummification on somebody where I would start wrapping at their feet and go all the way up to the top of their head and put silly kind of like big penis hats on them, and then like make wrist restraints, and then take a single tail whip, and I would like take off the balloons one at a time. And it was just a lot of fun. So it sounds really scary, and it's literally just scary sounding because they pop. And there's like when a balloon pops, there's actually a sonic boom that's created. So it's just a little bit ouchy. It's because the whip never hits you. The only thing that happens is the balloon pops on your skin. So psychologically, it sort of screws with your head a little bit, but it's not really going to hurt you.
So you guys are into BDSM, but not. It's not in a different way.
I was interested in BDSM, but I didn't know that you could, because I laugh. I'm a very humorous person. I couldn't be serious, and for me, it was like, oh my goodness, sex doesn't have to be serious. I was always afraid, like, my hair's going to get messed up and my makeup's going to get messed up and I'm going to have the fat rolls and my one boob's going to be in my armpit. And being a clown and having fun
So you were
BDSM.
a clown too, or?
Well, after
she met me.
I realized it gave me permission to have my funny, silly, messy, laughy sex that I always wanted to have, but I thought I had to be like the movies where it was so serious.
Right, like in your lingerie.
No, but
and
yeah.
perfect, right.
But you know,
Anytime,
but seriously,
who cares?
sex is funny. There's noises. People fart. There is all sorts of groans and moans.
And it's okay.
And it's
I
okay
get
to do
emails
that,
like,
yeah.
Is it bad? I farted. Is he ever going to call? I'm like, and if he doesn't, he's not the guy for you. Like, who
Yeah,
cares?
totally.
You know, like it is messy, and if you want to be with someone who respects you, who's like into whatever, like your period happens, you know,
Right.
You'll
Yep.
deal with it.
Absolutely.
So then clown sex. Then he had you at clown sex. And then what else? How else did you like open up together? Would you say like you've always been into more kinkier stuff? So what was like the next?
I started being a submissive for Ken. I started out that way. I really tried, and I realized
She did a really good job.
It wasn't
for her.
Like living in that way, like you guys like
No,
No.
24/7. Just in the bedroom because
Just in the bedroom.
I can't live that way. But in the bedroom, I tried bottoming and taking the spankings, and he can be really sadistic, and I have a high pain tolerance, but I wasn't quite into it. And then I realized, like, I want to be you. I want to be the dominant one. And it was hard for me to embrace that, you know, to be like, I'm in control in the bedroom because I've never played that role before. So we have an open relationship. I kind of became his co-pilot.
Which was awesome because I let her know that you don't have to be in one category. You can try. I was a submissive when I started off because I wanted to try all this stuff so I know what it feels like to do to somebody else. And with her, I said, you can totally be a top if you want. You can be the one in charge, or you can be an evil assistant, and she can actually be more sadistic and funny than I can as the evil assistant.
I love being the evil assistant because in order to be a dominant, and especially one that is as sadistic as he is, it takes a lot of planning. And I am too busy. I have 2 kids. I am planning everything all the time.
Okay.
I don't want all that preparation and cleanup. So he's in charge of all of the prep work. I just step in when it's like, whose ass do you want me to hit?
Right.
And it's perfect.
And then how do you? Okay, so you guys are back up. This is so interesting. So you're in an open relationship. You are married.
And we
married.
we are married, but we have always been in an open relationship. In fact, I think it took us a year before we actually said "I love you" to one another.
And admitted we were a thing.
Yeah, and then and we moved in like shortly thereafter. Like, and her and the girls moved in, and now we're just a big happy family.
Okay, and do the girls? So your kids, do they know that you're in an open relationship, and they know what's going on?
You know, we don't really talk about that with them. My older one is in college. She's going into her second year in college. She knows. I mean, I've talked about it when we were dating, but she isn't really like, so Mom, you know, what, where are you going Friday night or anything? We don't.
You know, that's a really good question. But like the thing that I think my kids could be 50 years old, and I don't think I'd talk about my sex life to them.
Right, because they're your kids.
It just isn't pertinent.
Right. No, I got it. Okay, so you guys, how do you find your? So is it constant? Like, there's obviously times where just the two of you, but is it usually like every weekend you have a new person, or do you guys each see people separately? Like, how does your
actually
open
very
relationship
rare?
work?
It's actually very rare, and it's funny because we were talking about the more that we date other people, and it's more on a casual basis. It's not like we want to meet a third partner and all move together.
We don't want any of that.
It's just for fun. And the more that we date other people, the more we realize what a pain in the ass other people are, and that we like each other.
Oh, that's kind of good. See, I think that's healthy in a way. You're like, I want to go out there, and then I'm like, oh, God,
it satisfies our curiosity.
Sucked.
Yeah, it satisfies our curiosity and cements the fact, like, I don't want to put up with anybody else's BS but his BS.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's interesting because having an open relationship for us, like the older I get, the more I have younger women that are attracted to me because they have sort of a daddy thing
You're
going
a
on.
DILF.
Yes, I am a DILF. And
I like DILF.
And
That's good.
one of the issues that we had is that the more the younger girls were attracted to me, the more I was sort of bored with them because it took the like having an open relationship in a way takes the naughtiness out of it because I have permission and license to do almost anything I want. And that actually makes it less naughty, believe it or not. And so
that's why people like to cheat. They're like, wow.
Yeah, no, totally. But we have an open
rush.
relationship. There's times when I do hook up with somebody. It might be like at 3 a.m. I'm at a party or a social event, and usually we're together 90% of the time. But if I'm alone, I'll call her up and say, hey, this girl wants to give me a blowjob. Is that okay? And she says, yeah, have good sex. I'm going to bed.
Seriously? So, okay,
Yeah.
so this is how it works. So you couldn't just get the blowjob. Like, that's because every couple in an open relationship has to make their own rules.
Right.
So you're like, hold on, babe, there. Like, your parents might even, you're like, I just got to call, and then you check in.
Yeah, no, I don't unzip anything until I get
Right,
permission from her
exactly.
first.
Do you ever say no, Sunny?
No,
Not yet.
No, we have veto power, and I reserve that for just if someone gives me a really bad vibe, but I haven't really had that. Sometimes I'm like, oh God, she's a flake. This is going to last a week.
Oh yeah,
and it does.
It's basically she could do the odds in Vegas for the relationship status I have with other people. She's like, this one's going to take about 3 weeks, and she's usually right.
Yeah,
That's great.
And oftentimes, when we say hook up, it doesn't have to be anything sexual. It could purely be just like a BDSM thing. Like, I want you to flog me. I want you to kind of mess with my mind, and there's not sex involved.
Do you guys ever just have like vanilla sex though? Some nights, or
Most of the time,
because it's a lot of work to like do all the prep and
It
set
is.
it up, right?
Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's funny though because sometimes it's impromptu. We had right now there's a competition between me and a couple of my female friends who are in either open relationships or single, and we have a point system. We're kind of doing it's like Fight Club, but it's about sex,
right?
Where we are trying to get points for doing certain acts. So when we got here to LA, one of our friends from Chicago arrived, and we both helped her out together by doing some fisting on her. And I actually put on my unicorn hood. I put a condom over the unicorn horn and 2 over the hooves, and we were doing fisting on her so that she could
With
get
the
5
hooves?
points
You
with
did
the hooves. Yeah, totally.
Condom over the hoof.
Condom over the hooves. So we had
How big is
magnums
the
over
hoof?
them.
What are the hooves? Are they like bigger than your hand?
Yeah, I'll show you in just a second so that you can
literally
see.
have the hooves with you.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to take some pictures.
We're gonna have to take some pictures of this for sure.
We're gonna have to do some video. Check it all out on Sex with Emily. And speaking of video, okay, so you have your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Which is
it's just Sunny Megatron. I'm Sunny Megatron.
You're Sunny
everywhere.
Megatron everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your Sex with Sunny Megatron and Showtime. Like, how did you guys come up with the idea for the show? And like, tell me, just because that's what you're doing anyway,
Well,
going around.
I was doing the
sex?
YouTube videos, and Ken and I sometimes do them together. He has some male reviews, and our business partner now, Paul Fishbein, who is like the founder of the AVN, the Adult Video News empire, was looking for an educator to do just like a webisode series, and he found me on YouTube, and he's like,
I
hey,
love it. It's
calls
like the
me
American
up.
dream.
Exactly. And then things progressed from there, and all 3 of us were working together. And one day he's like, you guys ever thought about doing a show? You want to do a show? And we're like, yeah. So, the 3 of us sat down, we put some ideas on paper, and boom, we got a show.
got a show
I
on
mean, it was the
Showtime.
American dream.
Right, it is.
That
it
does
is.
not happen.
It-
Then
it's
you
sort of
went
backwards
around
for
and you
us.
just talked. You went to different sex scenarios each episode. Like, you covered different things going on with sex.
Yeah, us and Paul and Jay had gotten together. They're the executive producers and the creators of the show, and we talked about all these different sorts of segments that we wanted to try. And we had things like clown sex. We had things like what were some of the other great examples? Like having sex in a hot environment and a cold environment. And so we sort of did like a sexual Mythbusters sort of thing.
Yeah, so we have
love
some,
it.
sciencey
Did
sort of.
you guys have sex on the show?
No, we did not.
Not
So
at all.
everyone else was.
I do my stuff in private. I'm
Right.
very
Except for the
neutral
boob
in
picture when
public.
you guys met.
Exactly.
No one's
and
seen
that was
that
friends
since.
only anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But basically the show takes people through various sexual scenarios, fetishes, whatever it is. And what we're hoping to show is the human element and, whether clown sex. It sounds weird.
Because everyone's going, I know, I feel like I have to keep getting into the clowns. Like, where does that come from? Like, were you like have like fear of clowns when you were little and then you sexualized it?
That's exactly what, well, I had a grandfather that was in the circus, and some of my first fondest memories are of the circus. And I was actually extremely attracted to the tightrope walkers and the trapeze artists because of the skimpy outfits. And the clowns were also one of my favorites. And since then, I've become kind of an expert on clowns, and I've done stuff like there's a documentary that I was in called Killer Legends. It's on Netflix now, and it's about the history of clowns and all sorts of true crime stuff. But it's interesting.
What is the clowns? Is that like, are there other people that are really into clowns?
Oh,
there's a ton of people here in LA. Snow Mercy throws clown parties on a regular basis, and she was on our show doing a different segment. But since then, the clown thing has actually taken off in a huge way, and there's getting clown parties all over the United States.
Because people already had it, or like, oh, I can get off on that, or they already had it, but they thought it was like a secret thing that no one else.
That's exactly, it's a combination. More, I would say, more secret because they felt weird.
Well, right, and that's the thing is that you normalize sex.
Yeah,
because everyone just wants to know if they're normal. It's like it's fine. It turns you on. You're like everything's good.
And the thing is, with from the most bizarre to the most mundane type of sex that we show on the show, it's basically if you break all of those things down to their basic common denominator. I want to feel connected to my partner, or I want to feel uninhibited, not like I have to be perfect, or I want to, if someone wants to be, let's say, controlled and they're submissive, it's because when I'm being controlled, I feel loved and like somebody cares about me. So when you break it down to the basic need or the basic feeling, these things aren't so weird. We're all looking for the same things. They just manifest differently for whoever is into whatever.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So the question is, so people watching your show, I mean, is it more like, because there are a lot of couples, I mean, who are in that period, that slump, and they want to spice things up. Maybe 50 Shades of Grey did turn them on, which is why I started with that article, because I know you guys teach all that stuff, but they don't even know how to start. Like, I'm not into clowns, and I can't tie anyone out with balloons, but like, what do we do? Like, how do we, like, I'm titillated, but I don't, people they never know how to talk to their partner about it. Like, what do you guys?
Right. Well, first of all, hopefully the show and what we do inspire couples to talk to each other. That's number one. We're so afraid to talk about sex. And, whether you're kinky or not, or whether you're in an open relationship or not, some of those alternative sexual practices encourage communication. And that's what everybody should be doing.
I know.
And also watching the show, it lets people realize that there are other people out there that aren't satisfied with their kind of humdrum, whatever their sex life is, and that there are resources out there, whether it's books, whether it's your podcast, whether it's the classes that we teach.
Or whether it's people like Dr. Charlie Glickman, who's like one of the anal experts that we deal with.
I know Charlie. He's been on the show.
Charlie is awesome. And one of the other things,
anal expert.
He is.
He kept inviting me. Did you guys go to his thing Friday night? And we were at the Sexual Health Expo.
No, we missed it.
You coming? I'm like, I can't come. I've never been to one of his hands-on workshops.
Yeah.
With the prostate massage. I would love to witness that, but I haven't been. Yeah, right. There's like something so I feel like the show, was there anything when you guys were filming your show that even surprised you or that was new to you or that?
No.
No?
Not for me.
There wasn't, in terms of sexual practices, I would say not so much. We did a feature, and this I've never seen before, even though I knew people do it. For mycophilia.
Oh yeah, that I taught about for years.
Insect fetish. Now I know about it. Like people get off on the insects crawling on your skin, but I had never seen it. So we had a guy with the crickets and a scorpion, and I was standing on the furniture because I'm like, that's his. I'm not going to shame him because that's his thing.
No,
that's
right.
cool.
No, it's cool.
And I actually understood.
I'm over here.
He's like, it's the sensation to him, the feeling of the little feet of the bugs feels good to him. And I'm like, I get it. I'm still terrified of those things and I'm standing on the furniture, but I get it. I can appreciate that you like it.
And one of the other great things about our show, it's one of the only sex-positive shows that is on a major network. And my job on the show is as a consulting producer, which means that while she's hosting and she's talking, I'm making sure that the different sexual subcommunities are represented in the way that they want to be, that we don't, like this recent fiasco with Game of Thrones, with the rape controversy that they had. I make sure that my job is to make sure that kind of stuff doesn't happen, that we have sort of somebody that's going to take a look at it in a broader sense and make sure that people are called what they want to be called, that we use the proper words, and that everybody is safe across the board, and that we have healthy practices for everything, and that people are consensual, that they have negotiated everything, and that they know what they're getting into when they come to our show.
Which is so important because there's so many, because I feel like something like 50 Shades of Grey, I felt like the movie, actually, I mean, and the book. But if you just saw the movie and you knew nothing, you're like, people like just don't get it. Like,
Right.
maybe they were trying to be like, I don't get why that feels good. I mean, there's so many people who just don't have the education around it. And the movie was confusing, I think, for some people, many people, like who never even heard of it. Like, that's what it's about. So there wasn't enough education about it. And I could see television in a lot of ways. They've done it. Like, look at these people. It's kind of crazy, but you made it like, relatable and inspiring.
We get to know every,
politically correct.
couple or person that is featured. We sit down and we get to know them and we talk to them. So, you get a little bit connected to these people and we learn about the relatable day-to-day things. Like, these aren't weirdos. These are your next door neighbors.
Exactly.
And, maybe your siblings or maybe even you.
Yeah, we had like IT guys, we had physicians, engineers, people that were professionals. We had blue collar folks that worked in factories, people that actually worked in sex clubs, but maybe they were a dominatrix and they didn't feel like in their personal life they could be submissive because it's their job to be a bossy, dominant female all day long. But what they really want is to have their boyfriend spank them.
Right. And then I always say that too. So I always say to people, like, for 10 years on it, communication is a lubrication. But I just feel like saying that it's not even just about communication, because it's almost like I've started lately trying to teach people, like, this is how you do it. Because if you've been with someone for so long and you've never talked about sex, which is more common than not, it's almost like I feel like there needs to be new tool. It can't just be like, so honey, I know we've been together 15 years having sex, but like, where do we start this conversation? You know? And I think that's why you got to bring things in from the outside. So maybe you watch something together. I mean, is there anything? I mean, you guys teach classes all over.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so do you have any classes that just work with couple? I mean, I think that would be so interesting.
Yeah.
All of our classes are applicable to couples. For instance, we teach a blowjob class. And a lot of people think it's a blowjob class. It's going to be taught by a woman and only women are going to be there. Or people who blow, And no, we teach together as a couple, as a giver and a receiver
of any sex act.
There are a lot of couples that will come to our blowjob classes, and it's very validating for someone to come with their partner who has a penis, and for their partner with the penis to hear what we're saying and turn to their partner and go, that's absolutely correct.
See, I love that, because I've taught a blowjob class and people are like, oh, well, what do you know? What do you know? But it's right. And then next one I am teaching, I'm going to have like a guy friend there who's like, can help me teach it together, because it's like, well, it's just better to have both of your perspectives on that.
Absolutely.
And everyone wants to know about blowjobs. So we're going to take a quick break, and I would love to get your best blowjob tips.
Awesome.
Okay, because who doesn't want to give a better blowjob? But first, okay, to my amazing listeners, let me ask you a question. Are you getting enough? You'd probably love more, right? Well, AdamandEve.com wants to give you more. They want to give you 10 free gifts. First, you'll get a sexy surprise for her. Second, a specially selected toy for him. And third, a little something we know you'll both enjoy. Plus, you'll get 6 full-length adult movies on DVD. Because, hey, I know you still have that DVD player, and who doesn't want that, right? Number 10, free shipping. I hate when people charge you for shipping. It makes me insane. Give me free shipping, god damn it. So what do you have to do to get your first 10 free gifts? It is not hard at all. Go to AdamandEve.com, select any one item. It could be an adventurous new toy, sexy piece of lingerie, anything you desire. Literally, anything you think about. I don't know if they have unicorn masks. They might, but you should go to Adam and Eve, check it out. Enter offer code Emily at checkout. 10 free gifts. AdamandEve.com. Free shipping, the whole deal. That's code Emily at AdamandEve.com. Okay, Sunny and Ken. Hello. Thank you for being here. This is so fun. Let's get into friggin' blowjobs, okay?
Right.
Because I swear to God, every single day you get a blowjob question, it's like either it's from emails or just on the street, like my, what do I do? My partner wants more blowjobs. I don't like giving them, or you always hear the whole adage, "We got married. That was my last blowjob." Like, say goodbye to blowjobs. How do you get people to? I mean, if we're gonna get tips, but what about? Let's just take a stereotypical woman, for example.
Right.
Not stereotypical, but let's talk about a straight couple, okay? Vanilla. And she just doesn't like it. Like, she's with someone, she's like, I just don't like the taste, the smell, maybe not good at it, who knows? There's a million things. And I'm like, well, pretend it's like an extension of him and you love him and you want, but how do you guys teach it? Have you ever had it converted? How do you
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
tons of people.
When we teach our blowjob classes, the first portion of the class is devoted to the psychology of the blowjob, both from the giver and the receiver's point of view. Now, when I teach about giving blowjobs, I was the person who hated giving the blowjobs.
I love
couldn't
this.
stand
Okay.
it. First of all, I have jaw issues, So I have TMJ. My face hurts. I have an extra small mouth. So when I go to the dentist, he has to use pediatric size instruments on my mouth.
Okay.
And
even you can give a blowjob.
Exactly. I grew up thinking the only way to give a blowjob was to like turn your face into a vacuum cleaner, deep throat the whole time, your jaw is sore. And it wasn't until I realized that, first of all, I was in control of the blowjob. I could be comfortable giving the blowjob. It's not all about my mouth. I can do, there's blowjob hacks. And because I have the extra small mouth, I need to employ lots of blowjob hacks, and I don't know how to deep throat at all. And that's not necessary because you have hands.
Hands
and
are your
you
best
have
friends
even
during
like,
blowjob.
some of us can lift up our boobs and,
you're lucky.
slide
You got
them
the
on there.
boobs can do that. Yeah, I can't
mean,
do
there
that,
are
but
so
awesome.
many other things you can do. And as long as you're making the penis feel good and it's wet and, he doesn't care if it's all my mouth or a little hand or what. It feels good. And I'm down there being enthusiastic about it, which just that in and of itself makes him a lot happier.
Right.
And to be honest, I've had a lot of blowjobs in my life, and she's the best. I've had porn stars blow me. I've had swingers.
What makes her the best?
It's just skill, and she's a natural born cocksucker.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both.
From the first time she gave you a blowjob? Or
It was
it's evolved?
From the first time she gave me a blowjob, she's absolutely amazing, and I think it was that she would anticipate my needs. She does a lot with the hands, and then we also communicate. So one of the good hacks that we teach people are watch your guy jack off, because the way that he jacks off is the way that he wants to have his penis touched. The other thing is that men need to know that they can have a blowjob as either an appetizer before the sex or have it as a main course. And if you communicate to somebody that you want it as the main course, it gives you permission to sort of cut loose, and you kind of know more what you're expecting.
Then you can chill,
Right.
because then he's thinking like, oh, I shouldn't come yet because we're about to have
Right.
sex.
And I don't know how many times I've given a blowjob where, I'm like, doing my thing and I'm thinking, okay, is this it? What am I doing? Should I stop?
Right.
Should we turn around? Should I keep going? I don't know. And that takes away from me being in the moment and just enjoying.
So what's the hack? You're just like, babe, I want you, this is for you, like, I want you to come in my mouth, whatever. And then you send that message to him, or I want you to, you like beforehand, you're like, this blow, because you can't be like, this blowjob is just, this is going to be the main course. Here I go.
Yeah, well, we talk about it before the blowjob actually begins, and then like we talk about tips with one another, and we actually review ourselves. Like whenever we're using anything from toys, maybe she's pressing a little bit on my perineum or giving me a prostate massage in addition to blowing me. So we talk about what we're going to be doing ahead of time.
debrief
Really? Like you,
afterwards.
okay, wait,
Yeah.
We do
before, wait, we back up.
Sure.
So you've got like a production schedule almost beforehand. You're like, this blowjob is going to involve the
Well,
perineum.
no, it's more, we're making out, or I got the hands there, and it's like, so what do you want to do? Do you want this to be all about you today? Or, he'll be like, no, I think, why don't you get me going? Then I want to turn you around after that. Or,
Right.
so it's
Got
not
it.
like,
No, I know.
okay,
I didn't
get
think
out the
you were
paper.
like, I didn't think you were like sending any,
Al-
had an Excel spreadsheet or anything.
Although there are some, that makes her hot, by the way. Excel, she loves Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's one
God.
of my kinks, Excel spreadsheets.
Seriously?
Yes.
Excel makes me cry. I can't even open my P&L. I'm like, really, like, it's like Chinese to me. I seriously can't read it, but that's I wish I could. Go ahead. It's another thing. It's business.
One of the things that we do is we actually do have, because we are sexologists, we have to test a lot of sex toys.
Yeah, can we
there
get
are
into toys for toys
absolutely.
with blowjobs? Let's go for some because I want to hit.
So
that.
one of the best toys for
Let's tap
guys,
that.
is a teardrop cock ring that's made out of metal. What it is it's shaped like a tear that's sort of bent into a curve, and it gives you an external prostate massage. And
So
this
the
stuff, it's like
curve,
metal
like, process in the
Viagra. Yeah, the
perineum.
first time she had it, she saw that, like, how huge because it's restricting blood flow. My cock was like the Hulk, and veins were
I
popping
could
out.
almost hear the skin stretching.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
And it's
Okay, wait.
absolutely amazing feeling.
It's metal, completely metal.
Completely
then.
metal, yeah. You put in one testicle, then the second, and then the flaccid cock goes in. But like, it's funny because we learned a very good tip recently. I'm
Always learning. I love that.
Yeah, I have 3 degrees all in medical related areas, and we were talking to some EMT friends, and they said one of the problems that they've been having recently is that somebody created a cock ring made out of titanium. The saws they have in the ER can't cut through that, so they actually had to call the fire department to get this guy out of a cock ring because his erection wouldn't go down. And
I've heard this. I have a friend who works in the hospital. He's like, these people keep coming in with cock rings. I just heard the same thing.
And it's titanium, like the softer metals, aluminum and stainless. That's not a problem,
Yeah, and
but titanium's too hard.
Even if people get nervous with like the aluminum or stainless ones, they make like Tantus makes a great silicone version
one,
of
yeah.
the teardrop.
Tantus,
cock ring.
right?
Yeah.
So you can probably get that at Adam and Eve. People.
Yeah.
Okay. So you, but then it has a prostate. But can you let's talk about the prostate for a minute.
Sure.
So, because I think it is, we talk about it a lot on the show. We've had Charlie on, everything, but there are a lot of people who are like afraid of it. I'm always like, just try it. Like, what if you don't like it? You don't have to do it again. But it could be this amazing thing. But you also have to be careful if you don't know what you're doing. So, would you just recommend they would get this cock ring to go in there? I mean, where would you say would be like the beginning prostate action during a blowjob? Or just
you know what? Well, like with the prostate stuff, we actually talk about that ahead of time because you don't want to like surprise somebody, especially because most hetero men are so scared to put things in their butt, and that has nothing to do with who they love. It has to do with like there's a lot of nerve endings in there. It feels really good, but like we talk about it ahead of time. And our most popular video to date, I think it's over 200,000 hits now, which is good for a sex review video on YouTube, is when I got my first prostate massage from her. And even though I had been into this for a long time, just never had one. And they're so good for men's health because having a monthly prostate massage actually lessens the chance of you getting prostate cancer by almost 30%.
That's what I've heard. So you actually do the prostate massage.
And I mean, you can go to the urologist and the urologist can do it, but he won't blow you.
But the urologist won't blow you.
Then you got to go out and see the nurse. It's all awkward after. You might as well just do it with you. So you teach it. That's amazing. Because I think that people are very confused by it. And
there's a very simple reason, by the way, why it gets rid or why it helps reduce cancer, because massaging the prostate actually oxygenates the prostatic fluid and gets rid of any viral, bacterial, or fungal buildups. And it's as simple as that. It's like, bam, it's gone.
I know. That's great. So they should check it out on your YouTube page.
Yeah. And there's so many people who are like, I'm afraid to try it. I'm afraid to try it. And finally they try it and they come to me and they're like, I don't know why I didn't do that years ago. My orgasm like multiplied, tenfold. It was amazing. Like I saw like deities come out from the heavens and I spoke in tongues. And yes.
I was on Jason Ellis's Sirius XM show the other day. You guys know Jason? And he was like, the first thing, I'd never met him, but like within the first 2 minutes, he's like, I never had one. My girlfriend gave me a private. I had 6 orgasms. Like he was like freaking out about it, And he was like, it was like the best thing I've ever experienced. It was pretty recent. And, I just think that, I'm always telling, I've talked about this for years, that who do you ever met anyone who didn't like it? I mean, it was
no.
You do it wrong.
No, yeah, and I've met a lot of people that are afraid, and it took them a while to do it, and then all of them when they're like, I don't know why I didn't do this before. I don't know why I was scared. And I say to a lot of people, if they're afraid to do it with their partner, there are plenty of toys like the Aneros toys. You can do it by yourself because I encourage people, if you're afraid to do it, if you just can't do it with a partner, try it alone.
The Aneros,
first.
right? What's the Tantras, or what's it called? The Aneros toy, the one that's just for, or I guess they're all for men, but
right.
That's a great
they have a whole huge line of them. Also the Enjoy Pure Wand, like the small end of the Enjoy Pure Wand is one of the things that I prefer to use for my prostate. Like if I'm making her squirt with G-spot action, we use the big end. The small end is for my prostate.
Mm-hmm. Right. I love the Enjoy too. Okay, let's talk about squirting. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yes.
Okay, had you always squirted?
No.
Okay.
No.
So this is so good. I'm glad we're talking about this. Okay, because when I first started, we always like, anal's the new blowjob. Okay, that was like something we were saying like 10 years ago. And now I feel like squirting is the new anal. And then I actually was going to ask you what's going to come after squirting, but let's stick with squirting for a second. Because I get this all the time now, because I think that people saw it in porn and whatever. Like, can anyone learn to squirt?
Yes, most people can. However, I usually preface the whole like, I need to learn how to work my G-spot by not everyone likes it.
Right,
It may not be everything it's cracked up to be because you see it in the porns. You see people going, the magazine articles like, hey, yeah, G-spots are the new anal kind of thing. And you might be expecting a lot more of it than really is.
Right.
And I usually tell people that learning how to, quote unquote, work your G-spot is a lot like riding a bike. All the magazine articles will make you think, oh, it's just a magic button. And once you find it, you just press it and you're, Old Faithful.
And bam, you win at sex.
Like that, right? It's like learning how to ride a bike. Some of us might get it in a few weeks. Some of us, it might take months, whatever it is. But the ride is a lot more fun, at least learning, than learning how to ride a bike and falling on your butt.
Right.
So I think us adjusting our expectations about what squirting is, what, having G-spot orgasms is,
because they're
what
two
it
different
might
things,
mean to us.
because you can squirt and not have an orgasm.
Right. Or you can do them together as well.
Exactly, which is amazing if that happens. But I think that a lot of people think it's both.
Right.
Like, and it's not for everyone.
Oh, and one of the other big misconceptions is that sometimes people dribble a little bit, but it's because maybe their urethra was dragged inside and they have a retrograde squirt that goes in towards the body instead of outwardly.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So for you, you hadn't squirted until Ken got his hands on you?
No, actually, I got my hands on myself.
Yeah, she got her hands on herself.
I
She did
became
it.
single, and I was like, this is it. I'm in my mid-30s. If I don't use it now, I'm going to break a hip, and I'm never going to be able to use it. So I went out and I got all these toys, and I
Had
went
you
on
had a G-spot orgasm before?
No, I
Oh,
had
okay. So
not.
let's talk about your journey to your G-spot then. So you're single, you get toys.
Right. So I was just, I got all these toys, and I had been laid off. So the kids were in school all day. So I was
What
like
else
laying
you
in my
gonna do?
bed, touching myself for hours. And I realized for me, usually after I have a clitoral orgasm, because I'm a clitoral girl, most of us are, that's kind of my prime time. And I got a curved toy that was similar to the Enjoy Pure Wand, a little bit different, but similar concept. And it happened, and I was like, oh, "What just happened? Oh my goodness, it was great." So I it was a slow progression.
But it didn't happen probably the first day you sat home and said, I'm going to have G-spot. This is what I try to tell you.
It's
It
a
could take
practice.
It's not going to happen. And I think that a lot of women just assume, well, it's never happened with a penis, never happened with intercourse. I only have clitoral orgasms. I'm like, not true. Like, how much time have you spent trying to figure it out? And there's different toys. Use your finger. I mean, fingers are a great place, but toys, why not just get a toy? Figure that out.
And to be honest with you, even though I have G-spot orgasms now and they feel good and I can squirt now, I still prefer my clitoral orgasms. They're two different animals. They're apples and oranges. And sometimes I like to eat apples. Usually I like to eat the oranges. Whatever, an apple every once in a while is okay. But it didn't change my life.
It didn't change your life, but it felt good. It was a little different.
Yeah.
And then were you able to transfer that into when you were having sex?
Not with a penis. I still can't do it with a penis,
Right,
and which isn't abnormal.
But I like having lots of toys. That's that's like a special treat for me. It's like if I think that she's warmed up enough and she can squirt, we break out the Enjoy or the glass version of it.
And he sits right there and he's like,
and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and he just
no,
watches.
it's hot. No, that's awesome. I love that, and it is true. That is a good point. That I always say that most women do need to have the clitoral and be aroused, have a clitoral orgasm first.
Right.
Okay. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And so I think this we were like, I don't remember who it was. I was talking like everyone I talked about sex. They're like, I kept trying. It was a friend of mine that had never had a G-spot, so I gave her a bunch of toys. And she's like, I can't do it. I was like, no, you got to start. She's like, oh, I was just, because she always had clitoral orgasms. They're like, no, you got to start, so it's an important point.
Well,
I think not for everyone, but if you get warmed up, do what you know.
It's important for women to understand that our erectile tissue is on the inside. So just like you can't expect a man to have an orgasm without, having an erection, getting worked up. It's the same with us, but we can't see when we're warmed up and when our erectile tissue is engorged and we have, our internal hard-on, so to speak.
Exactly.
So I usually recommend have a clitoral orgasm first, because that's usually a pretty surefire way to know all that erectile tissue is engorged and ready to go. Yeah.
Okay.
Lady boners are invisible.
Yes. Exactly. But they do exist.
They do exist.
So what are some of your favorite toys now? Anything new come into your life that's changed your life?
Oh,
Or
gosh.
changed that moment?
My new favorite is the Entice Body Wand. It's a silicone. It's sort of like a Hitachi wand, but it's a mini, but both ends vibrate. So it has the Hitachi-ish head and then kind of a pointy end on the other end, and they can both vibrate. And I love it, and it's rechargeable. So that's kind of been a new favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about G-spot toys? What do you like for that?
I'm an Enjoy Pure Wand girl. There's also the Comet G by Jopin. It's a similar shape to the Enjoy, but it's got some vibration to it. Even though I find myself, for my G-spot, I'm not into the vibration. Some people are, but
that's the thing too. Some of them vibrate, some of them don't.
Right.
You might just want.
I like the
one.
toys that vibrate, especially for someone who's new and doesn't know if they like vibration or not. Because if you don't like vibration, just don't turn it on.
Exactly.
And if you find that you like vibration, great. If you find that you discover your G-spot and you don't like it, you can use that vibrating toy as a clit toy and just use it externally. So to me, it's more dual purpose if you're not sure.
Right. And that's why this is all about experimentation. And I think this is such a helpful conversation, because people just write off that they can't have it certain ways. That's why they make so many toys now. That's why toys are changing so much with technology and the silicone and rechargeable. It is overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And you might have to get a few. They might not be the one for, but you just got to keep trying and see what works, because it's different. Just because I love a toy, especially having my staff, my intern, this is my favorite. They're like, oh, I didn't love that one, but I love this. We talk about it. We're having actually, our next shows would be, we do a lot of intern sex toy review days, and like a lot of them have like the first orgasms. It's very exciting. And, but they might not love what I love, and we discuss it. And I think that just helps people realize like we're all freaking different.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can recommend my favorites and tell you what they do, but you gotta, figure
Try
out
it
your
for
own
yourself.
body.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's interesting that a lot of the companies now are just coming out with good sex toys for men. Like the Cobra Libre is one of my favorites, and that's Fun Factory, I believe.
Fun Factory.
And what it does is like the Fun Factory, Cobra Libre, and then the Hot Octopus are all things that basically vibrate really, really strongly on the frenulum outside of the head of the cock. So it's only that first 1.5 to 2 inches is what they're focusing on the bottom side of it, but it is the equivalent of a clitoris at that point. So it's focusing on that.
Okay, wait. So it's not. So you put it over and it just stimulates the frenulum, which I always say is the underside of the penis.
Yeah, it's the underside. If you take your finger and you put it out, like if you're pointing straight out, the bottom side of the penis it has more pleasure receptors than the top side. So
just like your
especially
finger.
just like your finger.
Going up and down their shaft, and they don't just. How do they not know that?
You know what they do, but they just haven't thought about how to relate it.
Right. Okay. Got it. So that what is the toy that you said?
It's the Cobra Libre by Fun Factory, and then the Hot Octopus is the other one.
I got it. I love Fun Factory toys, and I love how they charge. I love all their buttons, the whole thing. It's a great toy. So I think it's because I'm always talking about toys for women, a little bit for men, but I feel like vibrations, toys, not just for women. Like I should go a little shopping. Go shopping. Okay, you guys help me answer an email here. How's that? Okay, thanks everyone. I appreciate you emailing me feedback at sexwithemily.com. I love hearing from you. Okay, and now we've got 3 people here to help you with all your problems. So here we go. Or your issues, your challenges. I don't even like saying problems. This is the challenge. Hi, Emily. I'm a new listener, and I'm enjoying getting caught up on many of your recent podcasts since I have a very long trip to work. I'm looking for ways to spice things up with my wife when I return home in a few weeks and think she might like some erotica since she loves literature and writing fiction and short stories. However, even though she's a sexual and sensual woman, I don't think she'd be into or appreciate anything too graphic or hardcore. Can you suggest any websites, books, or other sources where we could find something for couples that's hot and gets us both going, but wouldn't be perceived as degrading to women or otherwise embarrass or turn her off? Thanks, Dave.
All right. Well, as we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast, have you seen 50 Shades of Grey? Because that really is the movie, even though, like I said, if I'm dissecting it from a how-to point of view, it's lacking, but it's beautiful. It's pretty to look at.
It is pretty to look at.
It got me, moist in the crotch area,
right. Right.
So that's a great place to start. Depending on how graphic she wants to be, there is a lot of, female-centric porn, feminist porn out there. That might be something that's up her alley, just depending on how many parts she wants to see. One of my favorite websites is Beautiful Agony.
Oh, I love Beautiful Agony.
And it's you don't see any private parts, nothing. It's just a camera on the face of someone who's having an orgasm.
Right.
And that is, even though it's completely, technically, very clean because you're not seeing anything, it is one of the most erotic things I have ever seen.
I saw it when I first started my show. Like someone's like, "Have you seen Beautiful Ugly?" And no, like 10 years ago, it's been around, and it's a subscription site.
Yeah,
right,
it's like a monthly, and it's I can't remember how much, but it's not too expensive.
No, but it's high. Like watching women's faces having an orgasm.
And they have some free videos too, so
Right.
you can log on and check out a couple, and maybe that'll do it.
I've got a couple suggestions too. Anne Rice's new book.
Yeah.
Her new book in the beauty series. Do you remember the name?
Oh, Beauty's Kingdom.
Beauty's Kingdom. And there's another one. Nina Hartley's husband, Ernest Green, wrote a book called Master of O. So it's sort of a continuation of the story of O. If they're into some of the BDSM perspective stuff, even on a light level, the Master of O is a great form of erotica. And they just came out, if they're like me and they're a comic book geek, they came out with an illustrated novel version of the Master of O. And that just came out in March.
Okay. And he was on my show actually probably about 6 months ago, if you want to listen to that episode.
He's awesome.
I think so. He's great. And Nina.
And Nina, of course.
Oh my God, they're so fun. I know. And then also Story of O. Classic. And
Story of O.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, so I think we have time for one more. Okay. Dear Emily, here's another thing. Guys, when you email me, I love it. And if you could tell me where you live, it'd be awesome. And also how you listen to the show and how old you are. That helps us a lot. Okay. My name is Pam H. I'm from Massachusetts. I'm 30 years old, been married for 5 years, together with my hubby for 15 years, high school sweethearts. I had a baby girl 16 months ago, and I know that with hormonal changes, I can be pretty dry. My husband does still excite me very much. I'm still very attracted to him. We honestly don't have sex too much because, well, the baby and working full time, it's just hard to find the time. Last week, we had sex 2 days in a row. Both times were great, but the second day he pulled out the lube. We have the standard KY. Well, I offered sex the third day, and he said as much as he'd love to, he couldn't because he was raw. He showed me, and all the way around his head was raw and irritated. He said I was super dry, even with the lube, and he'd chafed. I felt awful because he said, I guess I don't excite you anymore. He does, I swear. One reason I married him, because his sex is so goddamn good. So to my question, what is your favorite lube? I don't like it being too super slippery. I've heard coconut oil is good too, but I'm kind of afraid to try. What could we do? Should I also talk to my OB about it being too dry? I'm a new listener, but you're so fun to listen to. Thanks, Pam.
Well, I have one thing to say. First of all, she said in there, like, he's afraid I don't excite. No, your level of wetness or dryness has nothing to do with how turned on you are. It could be so many things, where you are in your cycle, what medication you're on, how hydrated or dehydrated you are. So don't think that there's a connection there, because there isn't.
Right. I always say, like, there's such a stigma with lube stuff because, guys' feelings get hurt and she feels bad and the whole thing. And I'm just like, I want to lube it every nightstand. Like, it should be part of your sexual repertoire, but not KY.
No, I would actually recommend silicone lube or coconut oil, either one. You're not gonna, if they're using a condom for whatever reason, even if they're married, you don't want to use an oil-based lube at all. But silicone lube is great, and to get the guys involved a little bit more, let them jack off with it first, because I'll tell you what, silicone lube is absolutely amazing. Wicked actually makes one of the most amazing ones. Gun oil is really great. Pure Uber
lube is like, that's one of my new faves.
One thing I would ask for them is the guy circumcised or not, because that may make a difference to what's going on with that as well.
Okay, so from now on, include if your partner's circumcised or not. I like System Joe. I like Pure. I like, I would just try the lube, and I would just take, exactly. Tell them that it's not.
Yeah,
that.
As I know, all of us in this room know, like kind of your drugstore lubes like KY, not really the best thing. There's so many things in there that can irritate you that I would suggest steering clear. And if you don't have access to a sex store or you don't want to order online, as long as you're not using condoms, get that extra virgin coconut oil and go to town. It tastes good. I
haven't used it yet as a lube just because I have so many lubes to test all the time. But I know, but I love coconut oil for everything else. So here's an article like 100 uses for
we use it all the time, like everything from our coffee to whatever. Also, Adam and Eve, I know, carries it, and they distribute everywhere throughout the world.
They do. So check out Adam and Eve, use code Emily, and get some really good freaking lube and best. And silicone lube got such a bad rap for so long, but it really is great unless you use it with a toy. Like, don't use it with your toys always, because it can break down the materials, but otherwise, it's slippery. You'll like it. It feels good for masturbation.
I usually find if I have a good quality silicone lube and a good quality toy, granted your mileage may vary and there's no guarantees, but I oftentimes find as long as I have quality silicone, I can use them together. Like, I recommend spot testing it, like do a little spot to see. But knock on wood, I've been pretty lucky mixing silicone with silicone.
I have too.
The higher quality silicone is medical grade and it won't counteract.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So spend the money. It's worth it. It's a good face cream. Like, get a good
and it's worth it to spend the money because it lasts longer.
Exactly.
So you spend more up front.
And it has 100 uses. You can use it in your hair to get rid of frizzies.
Right, exactly.
And runner's chafe. If you're a jogger.
Same with my Down Under Comfort. Do you know it's funny that I was talking about earlier in the show, the Down Under Comfort cream the cream to powder formula you can use to dry shampoo and
really?
chafing. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I gotta give you guys.
I've actually used it before as ball powder.
What?
I love ball powder.
Yeah. Did I give you guys some?
No.
We're going to do that after.
But I need some, so that would be awesome.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me. So, sunnymegatron.com, and then tell me all your other stuff that you want.
Yeah, so sunnymegatron.com, sunnymegatron.com, or go to Showtime and just look up Sunny Megatron. The whole first season is available on demand or on the Showtime Anytime app. You can find me on any social media, whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. I'm Sunny, SUNNY Megatron. And Ken?
You can find me on all of Sunny's websites. We both write a lot of articles there. You can also just find me on Twitter at Psychic Ken, or it looks like Psy Chicken, PSY Chicken.
Right. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And everyone, I love you. Thank you for listening. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. which is all at Sex with Emily. How easy is that? And also, what else do we have to say here? If you guys like the show and you know, people always ask me, like, how do we listen? I feel like podcasting is, right now, everyone's kind of getting it, but there's a lot of apps you can download that are really easy. There's the free iTunes app, which is called Podcast, I think comes along with the iTunes app. There's also Podcast One, which is a great app. And if you want to, you like the show, review us on iTunes. That is awesome. We're also always looking for interns. All this stuff. Email us, feedback@sexwithemily.com. So thanks, everyone, for listening. Was it good for you? Email me, feedback@sexwithemily.com. Thanks for listening. Okay, so the deal is, Sunny Ken, I'm glad you're here for me, because actually this is my final words. I'm going to talk about the fleshlight. Have you guys used a fleshlight?
I have like almost the entire series.
Okay, good.
I've tested all of them. And the Nina Hartley one is my favorite, by the way. Her texture is just amazing.
I'll bet it would be, right? That's awesome. Okay, so I always talk about the fleshlight and how amazing it is. We talked a lot about male toys on the show, but so tell me, if you guys use it together, fleshlight, what's your favorite thing about it?
The favorite thing to me is just the consistency of the, and I can't recall if it's TPE or TPR. I know it's one of the two, but it just like, it's the texture. It feels absolutely amazing. It has so many little bumps and like different textures on the inside that it does things that a human mouth, vagina, or ass can't replicate. And so if you want alone time, Fleshlight is easy to use. It's easy to clean. You just unscrew the cap on the bottom and just like clean out the inside of it. It's great for a quickie. Have one at your office, stash it in the desk.
Exactly. The little one, the flight, like it's
totally.
Even great for partnered sex. Whether it's like, hey, just had some dental work done, or don't want to do
right. Like I'm going to finish my book, my other hand, I'm going to jack you off.
Or I'm going to work on other parts of you, or whatever it is. It's great. Right. And I know I interviewed a lot of the Fleshlight girls, and I just got fascinated by like, how did you pick your texture? Like it was like Stoya and Misty Stone, and Asa Akira and all those people.
Yeah, and they're all different. I love what you said, that it's not something that you can actually experience. Like it doesn't matter you through a mouth or through a hand. Or
right, they're not replicating anatomy. They're having very specific textures on the inside that
and you
aren't
have every
replicating
one. I love it. Are they all like out displayed? I'd love to come to your house sometime and check it out.
We have so many sex toys, but they're all displayed on the inside of my man cave.
Okay, good. I love it. Okay, so everyone check out Fleshlight and just get one. I mean, you've heard me talking about it, and I don't know. Everyone I've totally no one's ever been like, why'd you make me get this fleshlight? It sucks. I've never heard that except for thank you, Emily. Where has a fleshlight been my whole life? So check it out. Go to sexwithemily.com. Click